Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Mike BORGIA, and this is Sunday Sounds and Attitudes. So each week I just reflect on the events that happened from the beginning of the week, and then talk about that. I go into daily inspirational words, and then what I decided to do after that is I'm going to feature each week a Bandcamp artist that I feel holds merit, and this is someone who is not at the top of the Spotify charts or radio or on television. These are just artists who stand up equally well to anything that's extremely popular or trending at the time. So that's just as deserving. And in many cases, you may not know who that artist is. So let's crack into it, shall we? So I wanted to mention yesterday, though, it's funny because you know how when you're eating or drinking something, it's random sometimes, right? So my wife made coffee for me, but a very watered down version. And I was eating a carrot and drinking coffee. And I thought, well, those can't go well together. And I'm checking emails and I'm chewing on the carrot and I'm sipping the coffee. And I look at her, I said, coffee and carrots. I think we're onto something here because it actually tasted pretty good. There was a subtle sweetness to the carrot, the bitterness of the coffee. I thought, So anyway, get your dose of coffee and carrots. Try it. It might be worth it. All right, so sometimes I'll give you inspiring words from my own mind, and then other times my music colleagues or writers and journalists and different people in music will say something that inspires me, and I just want to share it to you. So this is from, he's an older gentleman, and his name is, what is his name? J. Michael Dolan. A lot of musicians will probably know this guy. Anyway, I'm going to read this to you. It's called, the title is The Fake Chasm. You ready? All right. When you stand on the southern edge of the Grand Canyon, you can clearly see the dangerous, rocky, risky, steep, treacherous hike it would take to get to the other side. An ominous trek indeed. That said, if someone pointed across the dangerous rocky terrain to the other side and said, look, that's where the big goals and dreams are. That's where you're headed. And hiking from here to there is your only chance. Your jaw would drop, your eyebrows would raise. You may say something like, no way, are you kidding me? How do you expect me to get there? There must be an easier way. It's important because the good news is there is no chasm between us and our big goals. It just looks that way from our doubting point of view. And while many amateurs look across the imaginary chasm to the other side and say, there must be an easier way. The pros are excited by the challenge and committed to the adventure. They research all the possibilities, consult with experienced advisors, muster up the confidence to stand on the very edge of the great illusory divide that appears to separate them from where they are now to where they want to go, and proclaim, this I shall do. All right. And once that happens, the entire universe bows at their feet. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then provides moves to. Sorry, I read that horribly. Let's do that again. There's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. That section's from William Murray. He wrote, that's a guy from Forbes magazine. So that was short and sweet. Very inspirational there. If you got anything from that and you have anything to add, or you adhere to that ideology, let me know. All right. So my weekly events. I did a recent podcast interview with a friend and colleague, Mike Squires, who I'll be discussing shortly. And he has a very cool podcast on YouTube and a channel for, musicians. And he talks about music, and it's called Couch Riffs. And he started this a long time ago. And it was really couch riffs, talking about music on his couch. So we'll get into that big interview with him. That's coming on Monday. But so my weekly event was partly that. I always do my weekly podcast with Dirty Laundry with my friend John Malone. We always do that. And I was reading through, I'm going to show you this right now. Hold on. Sometimes it's just a scholarly week and I'm just reading through weird stuff. And this is a dictionary of symbols. It's finally in English. It was written in Spanish before that. But you should look into this, a dictionary of symbols. It's really interesting. There's all these different ancient symbols that correlate to different cultures and different ways of life and stuff. And it really tells us a lot about ourselves. All right, so during this week, I have to say, it's been another adventurous and super challenging week. It seems like the only, little dust. Seems like the only solace and beauty and calm I get is when I come back home from my day. Other than my work, of course, healing people, talking with the lovely people that trust me with their daily issues. That's always rewarding to me. I guess I won't discuss that because that's just my everyday joy. So I when I have to go out into the world, which is daily, New York, as I said before, there's some hot issues in the city, and I'm not going to get political on this show. I'm just going to tell you that every corner that you turn in New York City is a potential for harm. It's not a very safe place right now. So I was on this subway train, which I don't take very often, but it's snowy right now, so I can't ride my bike around the city. And sometimes taxis are slow. So I figure, what the hell? Hop on the train. One time's not a big deal. I get on the train, and this guy gets on, says he just got out of federal prison, and he was asking for money. And then he starts mumbling something under his breath, and then he pulls out this knife. Now is more of like a sharp utility knife versus one to stick, but pulls it out, and he's looking at me, and there's just two people left on this car. And of course, my heart is racing a little bit because I'm thinking this guy could cut me or stab me or something. And so I had to think like a chess game, right? And this is the truth. I was taught this early on. I have friends who are martial arts. I've learned self-defense, all these things. So all I was thinking is 3 and 4 moves ahead of this guy. And I chose the easy way out. I got these two people who were very scared sitting down. And at the next stop, we got out and went to the next car. And then I noticed behind me, he follows us. And just before the doors are closing, he tries to get in, and I kick him in the chest and make sure he doesn't get on. So, I think people in other states and certain countries are probably experiencing certain elements as well. But we're talking about, post-pandemic shit and what's still happening to New York City. And a lot of things that need to be changed. So anyway, that was enlightening to me because I'm learning to make better choices every single day. I'm learning to have better communication every single day and just say the things that I want to say in a more eloquent and intellectual way, right? And just choosing my words better. Now, I'm not the type of person who worries about what he says. If I say something that goes beyond what is reasonable and I get called out on it, I'm the first person to try to correct it and make a better conversation. But so that was when I had the feeling of something bad could happen. And then I looked out for 2 other people that I didn't know. That was rewarding for me because the couple were like, thank you so much. We travel together a lot now because we're really nervous. My husband travels with me a lot. Even though he's not working today, he comes with me just to make sure I'm safe. And, we don't want to live in a world where there's a chaperone. And now we feel that things are changing and have to be optimistic about the new mayor, that things will get better. And I feel like they will. I watched something on Russell Brand this week as well about, he was interviewing a scientist and a guy with a PhD. Now, I don't want to get into the semantics of what his credentials are, but he's been working in a lab for many years. And the one thing he said, without getting into big detail, is I always tell my clients that environment is what's contingent on your health. And that's the influence around you from your thoughts, your physical movements, and the things you put in your body. So the house you keep, the people you surround yourselves with, determine how your cells function, right? And he talked about each cell being an embryo, right? We're constantly losing cells, tens of thousands of cells a month, and then regenerating new ones. And it's not about our genes or DNA. It's all about the environment and how we regenerate those cells effectively. So anyway, I took that with me, and it's like positivity. The attitude we have is what makes our life successful, right? It's not about working super hard, chasing this money and this golden egg at the end of the path. We're here to empower each other. And so when I'm doing these podcast interviews and when I'm talking with friends that are future forward and are going through their own stuff as well, but they seem to put that aside and just hang out and be in the moment of what they're doing, and then they deal with their issues after the fact, right? And my circle is learning to not bring that on each other, but empower each other to be better at what we set out to do. And nothing's perfect. Everything you have now can go away tomorrow. And on the show that I'm doing on Monday with Mike Squires for Couch Rest, you're going to get a big, expansive, more historical view of my musical life and personal life. Now, there's still so much detail, and it was so hard to talk to him about it because there's so many events in my life that happen that things just come up and come up and come up, and I remember them later and later and later. Well, there were some things that I mentioned in there about personal wealth, and I don't want to mention it right today. I just want to say that, I wanted to talk about that J. Michael Dolan inspiration and just focus on always more of the positive things. But I have to draw attention to how the negative things create a positive. So all the negative things that happen, there always are life lessons that teach us to do better, to make better choices. It's like a switch, it's just telling us stop or go or pause for a minute. So let's say we're at 12 minutes in, and I want to get into a new song of mine, and then I will talk about an artist on Bandcamp that also has a new song that I want to cover. All right, so today, let's get on this channel here. All right, so this is a song that I wrote. It's a Snippets song, okay? And every time I say I'm going to have these open, I don't have it prepared when I should. So bear with me here. Now, this song is called 126, okay? And it's from Volume 8 of the Snippets. So this one is, and there's a video for it too. It's on my YouTube page. There's a video for this. It's also on my website on Bandcamp. 126 from Volume 8, and hopefully you like this. And it's only about 2 minutes and 7 seconds long, so I didn't get through that. And then we're gonna get to this next album that's pretty damn cool. That even beats out the short Snippet songs. And he does an entire album in less time. Are you ready? so I'm stopping it there only because, so the chorus, I know you know I'll be a cradle of myself. I know you want to see a different version of me. Now, when you watch that video, you're going to see a woman running. She's carrying a baby. She's getting through obstacles. She's getting cut by glass. All right? So all these videos that I'm doing now are telling a story. Instead of having myself playing guitar in it, boring the crap out of people, I'd rather focus on that. So let's go through the rest of it here. Remember, 126 by the Snippets, and it's off the Volume 8 album. Okay. Now, when you watch that video, I think you'll get some inspiration from it. That's the whole point. Create these visuals like when music videos used to tell a story. I miss that. So that's pretty much what I'm doing now. And so that's from 126, Volume 8 by the Snippets. It's all on MikeBorgia.com or on my YouTube channel, of course. I'm trying to cover most of the videos on my YouTube before that. That helps my, my channel grow. All right, now to the Bandcamp Artist of the Week. All right, I mentioned him before because we did his podcast together. And this record, now, this is called Number 2. All right, he has a booklet and a flexi disc with it, which is very cool. It's got a bunch of cool artwork with it. If you're into that, which I definitely am, he's shortened these songs. These are 15-second songs. It's an entire album of short songs. Now, I mean, personally, I would have just showed little 15-second snips of the song and not let anybody hear the entire record. But I think the intent goes beyond those short segment songs. And what he does with them is pretty cool. He just takes the snippets, the best part of the song, and he puts it in there, and then he created an album out of it. You know, people's attention span is so short, I feel like it's a dig to that. Because that's initially what the Snippets was all about, too, about creating a shorter dynamic of listening experience, and then people can go about their day, you know. There's a lot of content online, so I get it. It's hard to listen and watch, and I know that the longer these videos get, sometimes you only get through 5 or 10 minutes of it. All right, so we're going to play this, and we're going to probably, this is going to be about 4 minutes. If you can handle it, I think you can. So it's on Bandcamp. It's Mike Squires' number 2 record. And yeah, it's 4 minutes and 19 seconds back to back, and it has a variety of styles and interesting content in there. So it's basically a showcase album. Check it out.
I'm here waiting for you in a stranger's home. Let me teach you lessons if you listen. Like number 1, take your shirt off and your photograph with kiss, so you'll regret it for the rest of your life. How many times must I remind you?
Started there for some reason, I don't know.
They got me out phones. I have 2 dogs I just raped. If you're carrying along, be sure to secure. It's the courteous thing, and it's the law, it's the law. Skinny dipping in the carpool at the park, in the car parked in the dark.
Meow.
At the park, carpool, car park. We all believe we're the righteous ones. Guess again, guess again. If you have true nights, you're the loosest that's on. I'm your best friend, I love you so. I'm your best friend. So many books I have not read, but only what are you waiting for? Paul Stanley autobiographies one.
It's almost done, folks. Hang in there. An entire record. Seems to like the young girls. So this will be the only time where I could feature, one of the only times, an entire record in 4 minutes and 19 seconds. So I get the intent of that. I think the songs are great and could actually do well as a full length. And if I were Mike Squires, this is just a little idea. Doesn't mean you have to do it. Every once in a while, I'll creep out one of these songs in a full length style with a nice video and surprise the masses. Go through with it. Look at what has the most plays and then finish that song. Finish, yeah. So this is where we are, man. You know, people are clicking and moving and clicking and moving, and they have no time to really enjoy the experience of it. And I don't know how we could fix that at all, but I do know that it just takes time to build a legion of people who trust you and trust your work. And then eventually, you know, you have fans for life. People have been following me for many, many years. It's a wonderful thing. Sometimes they let you know about it. Sometimes they don't, you know, and they let you know years later. But he is of a generation, Mike Squires is of a generation that believes in the true art of music. And if you know, like track 6 in there, that the one that was more electronic, I completely disconnected for a minute there. Maybe that's just me, but I think that song is a really important one because, at least for me, it reminded me that, wow, how important it is to play the instruments. And he's got some collaborations on here with other musicians, and you have to do that. As soon as the computer music came, I completely was like, I did feel like a robot. And I think that's a legitimate feeling, don't you? Anyway. That's it for today. If you guys got any ideas for the Bandcamp Artist of the Week, let me know. But I will be choosing myself. And thanks for coming on and watching my channel. And thanks for coming to Sunday Sounds and Attitudes. And we'll see you again next week.